Greetings, friends. It's me, Wayman29, and I just wanted to come on and go through another installment of the book of Samuel. And my computer was messing up, so I have been gone for a little while trying to get everything reorganized. And so I'm trying to come back on here and get a little bit of this done. Now, to read Samuel, you're going to need a bunch of text. You're going to need the Masoretic text and the Greek text. Now, the Greek text are all those in the notes that on your KJV notes or whatever it says, the Greek manuscripts. The ones I'm going to name are probably the ones. The Codex Vaticanus is LXXB. The Codex Alexandrinus is LXXA. The Lucanic manuscripts, LXXL. Then we have Old Latin, the OL, the Targum of Jonathan, which is an Aramaic text, the Syriac Peshitta, which is also Aramaic, and the Latin Vulgate, Jerome's translation, and the Dead Sea Scroll, 4Q Samuel, A and B, and also the Josephus Antiquities. So what we have here is some really old literature interwoven with some editing. And what I'm going to do is give you a chance to use your markers, and I'm going to go through the Deutero editing and the additions that some scholars believe are in the text. And I'm taking this reference from P. Kyle McCarter's Anchor Bible Series, 1 Samuel. This is on page 14. So if you have those, we're going to go over to page 16 because I just want to get right into this. I don't want this video to drag on way too long and put everybody to sleep. But if you have a marker, what I usually do for textual criticism is I buy a Bible. The gift Bibles are the best to buy. You can go to Salvation Army, find all kinds of versions, and I have almost every version in hard copy. In case my computer goes down, I can still do comparisons. And what I do is I take these study Bibles and first I go through the Torah. I put in all the documentary hypothesis, the J, P, E, R, the redactor, and the Deuteronomic editions. I believe there's 3 of those maybe. And I put it all in, so when I open it up I can see the time periods and kind of have an idea roughly on what I'm looking at. Now if it's true or not, we don't know. It's not 100% verified. However, people have some pretty good reasons on why that is. So it's just another way of reading the literature, and it adds something to it. And if we can understand something else about it, then all the better. So here, I'm going to name off some text. If you miss some, just pause the video and get out your marker. One marker should be used for coloring this in. Another marker should be used for hymns and prayers. And another marker should be used for prophecies or prophecies against people, as you'll see coming up in the prophecies against the sons of Eli. So here we go on the Deuteronomic additions for Samuel. First we have the oracle against the house of Eli, which is 2:27 to 36, plus chapter 3, 11 to 14. Also, chapter 4, 12 to 22, and chapter 22, 6 to 13. Next, we have the additions to the stories of Eli and Samuel, 4:18b, 7 2a to verse 4 and verse 6b, and the summaries of verses 13 and 14 and 15 and 17. Also, the demand for king, highlight chapter 8, verse 8. Additions to Samuel's farewell address, chapter 12, 6 to 15, 19b, verse 20b to verse 22, verses 24 and 25. I have a correction on the first one I mentioned. It's only Oracle against the house of Eli, chapter 2, 27, verses 27, chapter 2, verses 27 to 36, plus chapter 3, verses 11 to 14. It is not chapter 4, 12 to 22. I made a mistake there. I apologize. Okay. Back down to Samuel's farewell address. I believe we already got that. Notices about Saul's kingship, chapter 13, 1 and 2, chapter 14, verses 47 to 51, and the revision of the account of the battle in the valley, chapter 17. Additions to the story of David and Jonathan, this would be chapter 20, verses 11 to 17, verse 23, verses 40 to 42. The first account of David's refusal to take Saul's life, chapter 23, 14 to chapter 24, 23. Abigail's speech, chapter 25, verses 28 to 31. Also the additions to chapter 7, this would be 7, verses 13 to 17. And that's about it. If I run into any more, I'll be sure to let you know. So here, as an introduction to the whole book, 922 BCE. I'm just throwing that year out there. Whatever your theology is, may place it different. Scholars argue about it all the time. Some place it earlier, some place it later. And this text, some of these interwoven stories take place in the early tribal league. Shiloh, which is an old Yahwehistic cultic center where the priest of Eli and the line of Eli had the tent structure with the ark. And so it was a very one of the earliest holy spots for the early Israeli tribal league. So in the story, there's a lot of push and pull. You have Hannah against Peninnah. You have Samuel being contrasted against the sons of Eli, and you have the start of the decline of the priests of Eli, and you have Samuel contrasting with Saul. Sometimes the stories of Saul, some scholars believe, were taken and woven in with that of Samuel. And what's interesting, no king has a miraculous birth, but the prophet does. And the writer wanted to stress the importance of the prophet in the government, which is very interesting. You have ideas of how important it is to carry out rituals and not take advantage of people, being shown in the atrocities of the two sons of Eli. And you have both of those having Egyptian names, and their hearts are hardened like the Pharaoh, and they're doomed to destruction by Yahweh, which is very interesting. Also, names are interesting. If you look up names of people, a lot of times they're word puns, and it's a way that they function in the story even. And when you're reading biblical literature, there's nothing that happens in literature that didn't happen to Israel as a whole. So here you have Ephraim battling with Judah, Ephraim battling with the Benjamites, and you have the conflict of Samuel with Saul, and a whole bunch of interesting things are going on. So what we're going to try to do is look and take the Greek text, especially the LXX, the Breton English translation. It's terrible, but we're going to use it, and we're going to compare it to the Masoretic text, the Lamesa, Aramaic, Peshitta, and we're going to take the Masoretic text of the Jewish Publication Society, Tanakh, and we're going to place them all together. And we're going to see differences. We're going to talk about some names. We're going to talk about story themes. And there's some great stuff going on, and there's a lot to cover. So this will be enough for right now. So until next time, take care, friends. And remember, if everybody's thinking alike, then somebody isn't thinking.